Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 2.31. Now in this Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is explaining to us why following the yamas is so important. And he's telling us that irrespective of circumstance, of place and situation, these yamas are really important to be followed. So let's take a look at the sutra, start breaking it up word by word and try to understand it a little bit better. So the sutra itself goes, Jati, desha, kala, samayana vachinna, sarva bhauma, Mahavratam. Alright, so that is the sutra itself. Now let's start breaking it up word by word and see what is it trying to communicate. So the first word here is Jati, and Jati usually refers to the birth or where you're born or what kind of circumstances you're born into, and it's still used as a very common Hindi word in India where we say which Jati do you belong to. So it's still something that is used in an identification format for a lot of people, especially those that belong to villages and more so in rural areas. Now coming to the next one, it says desha. Desh is a very common word referring to the country, the region that you belong to, the land that you come from, and that is referring to desh. Then we come to kal. Kal, another very common word, it means time. It refers to the passage of time, and time itself is called kal. So for example, sometimes we say sandhya kal, which refers to the time of the evening. Sandhya is evening and kal is time. So it's a very commonly used word once again in Hindi language as well. Now, coming to the next word we have over here, samai, or occasion. Samai also is used as a synonym for time very often, but in this particular case we are referring to it more as an occasion or a situation where a time comes up, where a time like that happens, and you kind of focus on that particular situation. So that is samai. The next word is anna vachinna. So anna is saying no or not, and vachinna refers to broken, or so it's saying here that this is not broken, or this is not it's followed basically. So when we're saying, when this word is coming up, it's coming up to kind of indicate that we do not want to break this in any circumstance. We want to follow it. There are no exceptions and there are no conditions. So it's not like we can say, oh, I'm going to do the yamas, but with terms and conditions apply, like it's not like that. You want to actually be able to do it entirely. So that's what it's saying here with this word. And sarva bhauma, very unique word that's being used here. Sarva means all, and Bhauma of course refers to a particular ground or particular layer or level. So it's saying that at all levels, irrespective of where we stand, this particular yama process needs to be followed. So it's kind of really repeating itself by giving you all the possible areas that you might think about, from levels to place, time, situation. It's kind of trying to cover everything. And finally, of course, we have the compound word Mahavrata. Now over here, this is a very unique word because usually even in Hindi or in Indian languages, we say vrat, and vrat means a vow or a promise. And now when we add the word Mahavrat to it, it means the great or the grand promise or the grand vow. So it's not only like a very simple promise, no, it's like a grand one. So that's why this compound word being used here is pretty unique, it's pretty interesting, and it shows us how much importance is being given to these 5 yamas. So now that we know this, let us take a good look at the explanation of the sutra and understand it a little bit better. Alright, so the sutra is trying to say that all the 5 yamas which we studied in 2.30 are extremely important. There's some great observances or practices of discipline which, if followed, will help us to become better yoga practitioners and just better people overall, I think. The reason they're kind of highlighting that we shouldn't break these vows is because I think to keep that structure, to keep that stability of the entire community and the entire society that you live in, I think these would be highly recommended steps. Now, they also emphasize here that irrespective of the time, the place, the year, the country, irrespective of situation. They're indicating that this needs to be followed through and through. So yes, it's a pretty challenging task. They're not being lenient here with us at all. They're trying to indicate that be sincere, be disciplined with your practice. If you're doing it, do it all the way, is what they're trying to say, I think, in the sutra. But what's more interesting is that a lot of times there have been commentators who've indicated that perhaps the sutra is indicating the difference between a vrat and a mahavrat. But the present commentator whom we follow does not think so. They basically say that this sutra is trying to tell us that under all circumstances, please go ahead and follow these 5 yamas. What they're not trying to say that if you're a medium or mediocre practitioner, it's okay to just say this is a vrat and then just do how much ever you can. I think one of the key fundamentals of yoga philosophy is it's really motivational, it's really inspiring. I think it depends on how you look at it, because it's trying to take you to the next level. It's trying to say, hey, you can do this. You can be like highly disciplined and you can make it happen all the way. So for me, I look at it in a very, very inspiring way. I think it's pretty phenomenal the way they're trying to guide us and motivate us. And I have to say that in real life, there might be some situations where things come up and we feel violent towards other people mentally, especially if somebody hurts us or wrongs us. So what the sutra is indicating is that what matters is your intent and your purpose. So for example, when violence takes place for self-defense, when violence takes place to protect yourself, and it's strictly to protect yourself, otherwise it's a threat to survival, that is usually okay and permissible, because without that you would actually lose your life. So there are very, very few cases like that where it's not an exception, but the intent with which you conducted your action makes it okay and still fits within the Mahavrata. So an example that has been given is soldiers or doctors or people whose duty it is to protect and to take care. They may end up having to commit violence in extreme circumstances where there is no other choice left but to do that. And of course, the yamas are not just about non-violence. There's non-violence, there's speaking the truth, there is being not stealing from other people, something that they don't want to give us. Very tough, especially if you're in a relationship or you're in a big family. You feel like taking the time and attention of the people that you love and you feel like they owe it to you. So it's very difficult. And at the same time, brahmacharya in today's day and age is one of the toughest ones to follow, because there is so much material that is kind of taking us in the opposite direction. So it's not to say, like we were discussing even in the previous sutra, it's not to say that having sexual urges is a bad thing. That's not what they're saying. They're saying that conduct your sexual life in a way that you feel helps your yoga sadhana and your practice. So just being mindful of it and using the energy in a very sensible way so that it kind of helps you and takes you forward in a creative direction. And then of course the final one is talking about aparigraha, which is not hoarding. So always making space and providing for other people as well. So all of these yamas are considered together to be a mahavrat, something that we should look forward to doing irrespective of where we are in our lifetimes. Quite difficult, I understand, but it's something to be motivated and inspired by. I mean, I would also give the example, all of us feel like we should work out or move every day at least for 30 minutes. Some days it doesn't happen, but our goal or our inspiration is that, yeah, I'm going to do it every day. So looking at the sutra in the same way, I think we can be inspired by it. I think we can take a lot away from it and just keep it in mind on our yoga journey and practice. So I hope this sutra has helped you overall and you found it a little inspiring. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give a big thumbs up, leave your comments in the comment section below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video or our next class or workshop. So until then, take care, and we're going to see you very soon. Namaste.